I am now hitting record. So welcome. My name is Joy Rice. I'm the director for the Center for Global Education, and we're here tonight to talk through London and learn more about what that program looks like for either fall 26 or spring 27. And so we have a number of guests with us tonight. And so we actually do have someone who is directly from our London partner here, and I'll have him introduce himself here along with another cohort here. So go ahead, first your introduction.
James, I'm the Director of Student Life at Foundation for International Education in London. So I've come over to meet with the incoming visiting faculty that's coming for the spring, and you've got some students here as well who've been on the program to talk to you. And my colleague here is.
Hey guys, my name is Greg Hess. So I originally from the UK, did my 3 degrees here in the US, worked for FI in London for 5 years, which is when I first came across CSB+SJU and Joy, and then in 2016 returned stateside, and I'm now based in the St. Louis metro area, and one of my partners that I work with on a regular basis is right here up in Minnesota as well. So I take care of kind of Canada down to Mexico, across to Ohio, but yeah, been with FI since 2011 as well.
And we also have the spring 27 director here, Eleonora Bertramo, who introduced yourself, and we'll hear later as well from her. But go ahead, do a short introduction.
So, hello everyone, I took get my own slide in this presentation, so you'll hear more from me when we get there.
Great. And then we also have new staff here in the Center for Global Education joining. She is on day 2, and do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Hi, I'm Ellen. I guess come the time you might be going on this program, I will be managing.
Yes, so she'll be your main contact. And so today we're going to give you a little bit of sights and sounds from 2 returnees, and shortly they'll introduce themselves and kind of walk you through what will life look like in London, and maybe if this is the program that's right for you as you're deciding here. And then, you know, walking through what sights and sounds look like, what is London, what kind of semester do you have in store for that type of study abroad. We'll hear more from Eleonora, and then I'll walk through some next steps for the particular program. But Kate and Kayla, do you want to introduce yourselves and tell me, and I will be your connector to the next slide.
Yeah, I'm Kate. I studied abroad last semester in London. I'm a strategic comm major, art minor, and I'm a senior this year.
And then I'm Kayla. I studied abroad last year in the fall in London, and I'm a double major in comm and GUS. So yeah. Wants to start?
Go for it.
Okay, so obviously you know the location, hopefully, since you're here. So it's London, United Kingdom. We are in Kensington Borough. That's where FIE is based, and that's where you will live. The population is approximately 8.9 million, so it's a very big, very lively city. And then our institutional partner is FIE. That's the larger map of London up on the top in the blue with all the different boroughs. We're number 3 for this presentation. That's what we'll be talking about in the next meeting. We're going to be that with a bunch of my friends.
Okay, this is the neighborhood of Kensington and kind of dips into Chelsea Borough as well. This is the map of like FIE Kensington campus, and so it has a lot of different. Can I go up to the screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry if I get in your guys' way. But this is Foundation House. That's like where all like, classes take place, everything like that, like hub for everything that you would need there. These little housing numbers are different residential spots. I live down here in Hanson Place. And then this is Metrogate, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Number 2 is Metrogate, so that's like any mailing, but also a residential life, and that's Hyde Park Gate up there. And then we've got like a ton of just different like museums. All museums in London are free, which is so fun, and just like different attractions. This is Hyde Park, a beautiful, beautiful park. And then the Thames is like just a little south of here, so it's a lot of like nature in the area that you can enjoy there.
And then your tube stations that are closest to you are High Street, Kensington, up on the top. Because it's small. High Street, Kensington's right here. I live in Metrogate, by the way, number 2. So my tube station was Gloucester Road. That's where what was closest to me, and then South Kensington is right over here, which is closest to
Which I always went to.
Yes. Okay, so just a little bit more about Foundation House. This is like your home base. It's on Cromwell Road, so it's right next to the Gloucester Road tube station, which is really nice. So if you need to go on any study tours for classes, it's very, very easy to get where you need to go. There's big classroom spaces, Wi-Fi, everything you need there, lots of places for you to do homework and just chill. I would sit there in between classes, or if I had some time to kill and I didn't want to go all the way back to my flat, so that was really nice. And then all the offices you need are located there, so when we talk about our internship, all the resources, the people you need to talk to, will work out of there most of the time, and then all of our FIU staff work out of there as well, and then that's your main contact for any activities or help that you need, like these are the people that you can go to and get help as quickly as possible, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's fun when you walk in, their office is like right off to the left, and they're always like smiling, saying hi, so it's a very welcoming feature when you walk into this building.
All right, so I have a big smile there because I was on study abroad and I was directing another program a year ago. Before I came back to campus. So I will direct in the spring of 2027 here on campus. I teach in the Spanish department, so some of you are currently or have been my students to learn Spanish. But this is going to London, then be a different role for me from what I do on campus. I will teach the course that you would otherwise take on campus, the Culture and Difference Society, so the second part of that course, the two courses, the second one. And I teach Spanish, but I also teach Latin American literature, and so this course that I put together to do in London would be based on fiction and nonfiction of contemporary British writers, most of them from London. And it will include also watching some films and going out on excursions in the city to type of course with some exhibits or places, sites that will bring what we're reading to life. And it's not, I think the next one was the one about the course. Well, I'm not gonna read through this whole thing, but again, it's stories, essays, films. It should be a fun course to do abroad. We'll get to go out every week. But also my role as a director, I'll go into that since I did it backwards. Here on campus, I teach and I grade and I develop a relationship with students in class. But on study abroad, I wear more hats than that. And it's been a lot of fun to get to know students better abroad, to do a lot more than just my class together, to go on the day excursions, long excursions, shorter excursions, to go out to eat, to do the orientations and the farewell activities, and also to be there, your support. I am your advisor while the program is going in the spring, and I can support in many other ways. Some students need that more than others, and that's why many of these programs fall with a director. And it helps bring the group together and develop more relationships with the director and with the other participants. So I really look forward to doing this program again.
So this is the one program that we do offer that is both fall and spring. So every one of our other programs, you will have to pick to either go in the fall and will only be a fall semester, say our Rome program, or our spring semester Spain program. This program does offer both fall and spring, but there is going to be a slight difference. And so Kayla went in the fall, as she mentioned, and Kate went into the spring. So now we'll kind of go through kind of that, well, first we'll talk about some support, and we'll see James right there. But what support you also have in London, but also talking through the differences. So in the spring is when you have that faculty member, and they can kind of talk through that academic program, and then Kayla can talk through, so for the on the fall semester, how that slight difference is. But truly, regardless, we have that partner with FIE, you have James and other members, and if you want to share more about the staff and their support while you were abroad.
Yeah, I mean, it was great to have just like all of them available to us if we needed help in any of these aspects. With our whole internship process, there was a lot of assistance in developing your application for it, doing interviews, preparing for all of those, making sure that your placement is right and support if the placement is not fitting right. And so it was just like, it was comforting to know that you had many people that were like backing you in this whole process.
And then I would say like going in the fall, we leaned on this staff like a little bit more just because we didn't have a CSB+SJU faculty member with us. We had a lot of support back here where we could. I think I reached out to Joy a couple of times, where you can always reach out to people back home, but if you need something in the moment, I work with Stephanie Brown a lot actually. So it's one of those things where like if you need something abroad, you've got your faculty member here in the spring, but even if you don't and you choose to go in the fall, you've got a huge building full of people who are super willing to help you and assist with anything you need. So yeah.
Okay, so when I was there in the spring, we had our class, our professor was Janelle Finchley, if I guess pattern and gender studies department. And we did like disabilities in the UK, which was really cool because we saw like a different side of the culture there. And so we would go out, we went to different like disability organizations, things like that. So that was really fun. And it was also really fun because it was her and all of us CSB+SJU students every week getting together, which was really special. I took Islam in the West and so did Caleb, which was our upper Theo class, since we have that requirement here at CSB+SJU. And that was really interesting because there's a big Muslim population in London, and so there's a borough called Whitechapel, and we did a lot of excursions there, like seeing the culture, going to mosques, things like that, which was really fun. And then I also took a class called Travel Ready, which was super fun. And we would just talk about kind of our weekend travels. It was with a professor named Brian Ridgers. He was a hoot, and he would always just take us on different excursions throughout the cities, just like hang out, sit at the top of a park and chat. And so those are the ones that I took. Well, then the internship class, we had to talk about that.
Yeah, so I did not have a study abroad seminar per se, just because I did not have a faculty member there from CSB+SJU to teach it. So we did global reflections with our director back home. Her name is Allison Spinander. She's in the education department. So we just submitted assignments to her so she could just check in with us. We called her every once in a while just so she could see how we were doing. So that's what we did instead. I also did British life and cultures because that is required for both semesters. And then I took Islam in the West, like Kate mentioned, to get that upper Theo done. And then I also took a music and 20th century Britain class to get my art credit finished. So if you're a double major like me, or if you've got a packed schedule, you can definitely still make it work abroad and get all the requirements that you need. The nice thing about London, in particular, in my opinion, is that a lot of those classes, the attributes transfer really, really, really well. So it's super clear to you exactly what you need and what's gonna count well for your transcript. And then yeah, the internship course with your placement on the back half of your semester, you will do an internship placement. And then you meet for class once a week with that, to my understanding. And then you just check in with your professor who runs that course, just checking on how the internship's doing. Let them know if you have any concerns. So that's someone you'll meet with once a week just to check in. But the internship is so fun. So that is like a very big draw for this program. Because those credits transfer really well. But yeah.
And this is the wide variety of classes you could take. A lot of my friends took like an art class and a music class, which was fun because they would go to different like concerts and shows. But yeah, you can take Theo, like we mentioned, there's English, sports studies. They did like tours of different arenas in London. Just a wide variety of those engaging classes you can take.
And so the full list is right on the global portal, and it already showcases how it comes back to St. Ben, St. John. So really a wide variety, and every one of the courses you will have out of class experiences built into the program. So you're not always just in a classroom. I would say the minimum is like 2 to 3 per class that you'll be out of London as a part of the course as well.
Almost once a week we were out in London, which was
so the internship placement, I know this is a really big draw for a lot of people. So you do a 7-week course placement with some type of lending company or nonprofit. Kate can speak to hers, but mine was at a online lifestyle magazine called The Handbook. So I was an editorial and marketing assistant while working there, and we got to do like all kinds of projects. Like they really threw us completely in it for such like kind of a short time period of 7 weeks, but it was packed. We did a lot of events. There's me at a brand opening that I covered for the magazine. So no matter what you're interested in, you are able to kind of get something in your field. You send your preferences to FIU and they'll help you find a placement, and they always seem to find something that works really, really well for your experience. So it's great.
yeah, I had an internship with a public relations organization focusing on luxury lifestyle. And that's a photo of like my computer, and that was just like a really common occurrence at one of my days. It was so fun. We worked with a ton of luxury brands across Europe and Asia, so it was fun to sit in on those meetings and like meet about different brands. This is my flat. This is my room. We had one more bed and an ensuite, which was nice. So the bedrooms are fitted for 1 to 4 students. My flat had a total of 7 of us, so one bedroom had 4, we had 3 in ours. We had an ensuite, and then the other room had the bathroom like right across the hall. And so that's kind of what it can look like. And then on the right is my kitchen and living room. And so our living room had like the highest ceilings. It was so nice. Then like a big long couch, a little TV, a view like overlooking our little street, and the kitchen. And it's nice because it really like worked out with us 7 to like work in these spaces together. We all fit on the couch together. It was so fun. But that's a bigger style kitchen for like a flat that has more people in it.
And then there's also Metrogate, which is where I lived. So this is another student residence. I would say that these, this flat's more like dorm style living. We still had an ensuite bathroom, but we used like a communal space for kitchen. So you got to meet all of the other people on your floor, which is really cool. And then down in the basement, there's a big computer lab study space. It's so beautiful. I was actually down there a lot. You can see it over there on the right. There's a big skylight right in the middle. And then this is where you pick up all your mail. There's a 24/7 front desk, so that's different from the other flats that they offer, which is nice. So if you need anything, there is always someone at Metrogate who can help you. Laundry facilities are also in here as well, and there is a piano. People play there all the time. It's cool.
There's laundry at Metrogate and Manson Place. Just so you guys.
And then this is the FIU Student Center. So the way that they run this is that there's a lot of activities that are subsidized through FIE and through CSB+SJU that you are allowed to sign up for and go to. So these are just a couple of examples. There's all different kinds of shows that you can go see for a cheaper price through this like kind of student discount. The London Eye is something that we went on through FIE as well. And then you also get the benefit of being in the Imperial College Union membership, which has like tons of different clubs. You can join like a pickleball club, and there's all different sorts of things that you can do. And then you're also entitled to use their student union spaces, which are like different types of places to get a drink or get some food with your friends, which is also very cool. Yeah.
And then excursions, so for our excursions, when you get there, it's like the next day or 2 days after, you go on the Thames River cruise, so that's my whole group on there. And it's so fun because they kind of talk about the sites that we're seeing, you're going right through central London, it's really, really fun. And then we also did 2 day trips, we did a day trip to Dover, that's us at the Dover White Cliffs. And on the way there, we stopped in Canterbury, and so it was nice to kind of break that up, but it was like a little history and then a lot of time to like walk around, explore, hang out. And then we also went to Oxford, which was really cool. And we got like more like a structured tour there and then like time to hang out and explore the city on our own. So those are really fun to go because they're just like a day long. You get back to London at night. And then you also get a pass for the Tube, which is like London's subway system. And that's between zones 1 and 2, which is a really, really large area of London. Rarely will you need to go past that unless you're going to like the outskirts of London, and then you can bus through all the zones. And the public transportation there is amazing. It's like life changing. So make it easy for you.
So here are my highlights. My email's up at the top. So if you have any questions, if you want to talk about London, please. I can never stop talking about London. So reach out to me seriously if you need anything. But my top 3 reasons are you will never, ever be bored. These are just 2 random things that I just decided to do in the middle of the day. I had tea, like afternoon tea overlooking Tower Bridge, and then my friend and I had a photo shoot in front of Big Ben with the telephone booth and all that. So that's stuff that we just decided to do. But there's so many things. There's restaurants. There's museums are free, like Kate mentioned. Like I was going to places all of the time. I was running all the time, and so many of these things are free. Parks to explore, lots of stuff like that. And then my second reason is that the internship experience and the study tours for your classes are unmatched. We had so much fun going on study tours for class. I think Joy mentioned that 2 were required, but we went so much more than that. We were out very, very often. It'll depend on the class, but mine were out quite a bit. And then I loved my internship experience. I'm still in touch with my bosses from that job. And that was huge for me just in my chosen field that I want to go into. And then just the travel hub aspect of it. It was so nice. There's so much, I think there's like what, 4 or 5 airports out of London in the area, in the greater London area. So it's really, really easy to travel to the rest of Europe if that's what you choose to do, but also trains, all kinds of things. It's super duper easy to get around in the UK and then into the rest of Europe and wherever else you wanna go.
Yeah, also email me if you have any questions. London is a super diverse city, and so if that's something that you're kind of like balancing of like, should I study abroad in a country that is like not English speaking or like London, but London is so diverse. There were so many times I was on the tube and like surrounded by people speaking different languages, which was so cool because I just like love learning about so many different cultures. And so you experience a lot of cultures in London. There are street musicians. I'm a sucker for live music, and every time I got out of South Kensington Station, I swear there's always live music, and it was like the best thing. People are smiling. It's always good vibes. But like a lot of music going on everywhere there. And like I said, the public transportation was so fun there. My friends and I on the tube just going for a night out, which was really fun. But there's just so much to explore and see. It's a really fun city.
And James, do you have anything to add of why students, your top 2 reasons why students should choose FIE in the London program?
Good question. It's a really interesting one. I think London is sometimes overlooked because sometimes when you study abroad, particularly when the language is involved, there's a different mindset to that process. So I think a lot of people choose London because English is the first language. And so often when we talk about cultural adjustments, immersion and so on, most students are fine making that adjustment, but there are obviously subtleties, there are changes to that. For a lot of you, it might be your first time abroad, but the UK is so diverse, as Kate Keller said. It's a stepping stone. It's easy to access Europe, but it's also a great opportunity to look within because London is part of, is obviously the capital city of England, but you're coming to the United Kingdom. So there are 4 countries essentially: Scotland above Wales, off to the left, Ireland, Northern Ireland as well. So it's very diverse, very interesting, just staying within that proximity. And somewhere like Edinburgh, which is my hometown up in Scotland, is only 4 hours away on the train. So it's very easy to get to. So that's something again to consider. But yeah, it's just an amazingly diverse, interesting place to be, as these 2 young ladies have experienced and talked about. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them. Just out of interest, how many of you have been to London? If anyone's been before? How many never been to London or to Europe? Yeah, great.
I would say London really has something for everyone. It is a place because you have the true cast. And London is a city where like can be a great jumping spot for other parts of Europe, but honestly, there is something new around every corner. So you really could stay in London and go to a new borough every weekend and still explore and stay in London proper, or take the train to other places and be able to have that connection to the UK. And so, but you can have whatever you make of it, and it can be something for everyone. There is just whatever your passion is here, you can find that outlet in London as well. So I think it just is one of those major world cities that you possibly will live in again, and or you can get a taste of maybe I will not want to live in this type of world city, but it's a great taste of that as well. It's one of my highlights of London. All right, moving forward to figuring out kind of what costs look like for the program here. So for any one of our semester programs, you'll pay the same tuition like you pay when you're on campus, but there's an education abroad fee, and that varies depending on the program. And so these are the costs for this year. We don't have costs out. Those typically come out when tuition is released in early March, but typically we are in the same increase of tuition. So it's anywhere from that 3 to 5% would be the education abroad fee. All of your aid will follow you for your study abroad experience. Any scholarship that you get institutionally, even like their art or music scholarships, even if you aren't taking art or music classes, they will continue those for your semester abroad. And so the first category would be the grand total, but note like all of your aids, so this is sticker price, just like sticker price as you see on our website, just know all of your discount rates and things like that will follow you. The B category is gonna be some of the things that have to occur out of pocket, right? So these are gonna be those pre-departure costs around a complete application for us is a $300 app fee. So that's gonna be your first cost towards study abroad. And then also the other two big ones are gonna be, well, maybe three. So if you don't have a passport, it would be getting that passport cost would be next. And then thinking about airfare and then the visa cost is the pre-departure cost. And then on site, that's where typically there isn't gonna be as much books as there would be here. There isn't, so you saw a lot of kitchen space available. The reason for that, there isn't a meal plan available on the London program. So you will have to cook all your meals on that particular program. And so we do cast out an average of what meals could look like. And so these are averages of what students spend. So honestly, like here on campus, there's students that spend much more than this. So if you are apt to eat out a lot more versus cooking in, there is a range in that. So we give an average there. We do ask all students to have some kind of working data phone or some kind of not on Wi-Fi phone. So that's a range for the price for that. And then personal miscellaneous would be in and around London. What would be kind of getting around? The last one would be spending money, independent travel. And now that one's gonna be, this one is an average. There's gonna be a big variety. So the person that says I visited 12 countries in my 15 weeks, their independent travel spending money is gonna look quite different than the student that maybe went out of London once or twice. So that's where I would say the biggest gap happens. And so that last grade cost is the average cost above being on campus. So this is that gap to look at, is about $6,200 all said and done when you add up everything, more than being on campus for the semester. So as you're kind of leading into Thanksgiving, talking through with parents, so these would be great slides to share with your family or whoever that support system is. Make the appointment with our office for financial aid, because every different situation, your financial aid package will be readjusted for the semester that you are abroad. But typically it doesn't mean magic brands appear, but your ability to take out more loans is an option for that particular semester. We do have a variety of scholarships. Some are within our office. So right shortly after the deadline, we have our global scholarship that is through our office. If you do get a Pell Grant, there is a national scholarship called the Gilman. Especially for your spring semester, you could have 2 times to apply in early March and then also in October. Fall would have the one deadline. Our partner at FIE does have a great competitive scholarship that is offered depending if you're going fall or spring, and we usually get 1 or 2 students who get a $3,000 scholarship as a part of that. And we have others available. So if cost is a part of the equation for you, please check out our scholarships page, please check out our cost page, and we can find out ways to work with you on those pieces.
Can I mention a couple of things there as well? Some of those costs that might be unusual, like the plane ticket, that's what Joy's saying, talk to your financial aid advisor, because you need to get to class. Class is in London, so actually your plane ticket becomes part of that financial aid conversation. And so there's some things that are out there that you may not get funding here on campus, but suddenly will, when you have that conversation and you take that budget sheet to your financial aid advisor, that's where that extra money, admittedly, albeit probably in loans, but will come out. So it's not like you're gonna have to necessarily write a check for $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. I would strongly urge every single person to fill out that FIE scholarship application, because Joy says, yes, typically 1, 2, 3 Johnnies or Bennies get the scholarship. But typically we find that it's the ones who fill it out actually end up getting the scholarship. Because I guarantee you right now, in everyone in this room, there's only going to be 1 or 2 of you actually fill out that scholarship. And you're going to miss out on $3,000. We also have another $5,000 scholarship that's administered externally. It is FIE money, but it's the Fund for Education Abroad. That would pretty much wipe out that extra money. There's a ton of money available, and it shouldn't be the thing that holds you back.
So the application is now open, and so for any of our study abroad programs, here is kind of our criteria that we're looking at for the applications for either the fall or spring. So if you are attending to go abroad in the spring, ultimately everyone does an interview in fall or spring. In spring, it would be with Eleonora. In the fall, it would be with myself or Ellen, to be determined. And so, but before that interview process, that is required, just making sure that we do have the GPA minimum being a 2.5. If you're somewhere in the ballpark there, please have a conversation on us. We do, on a case-by-case basis, do allow students to apply below that 2.5. There is a variety of essays that you need to complete. Our office does. You can meet with a study abroad mentor and they can help you walk through the application essays, but you really have to think through personally, academically, and professionally, why is London the right fit, right? And so professionally, it feels easy, like the internship, but look around you, everyone's gonna list the internship. So what is it about that internship? What are you hoping to gain? Have you peeked at like the different areas on the London website to see what is it about the London internship? Academically, you may be like, sweet, I want to get my Theo, but checking in on what are some of the other courses that may interest you, and so that you have done some of your homework and knowing that when you thought about study abroad, it was kind of London or bust versus like, we're excited for you to learn a new culture. We're excited for you to like learn more about yourself. That's going to happen on any one of our study abroad programs, but we want to make sure that you have found out why London is the right fit for you. And so exploring it in the essays and then expanding on it in the interview with either Eleonora or myself or Ellen here. And so that's kind of another piece, is that quality of the interview. You're knowing things about London in particular. What are passion areas here that you're excited about? Maybe you've always loved soccer and you're really wanting to go to a Chelsea match, or wanting to figure out to dive into rugby a little bit more, whatever it could be, or you love punk rock and you're so excited to really dive into that there. So many things that you want to, but be authentic to you of what is something personally. Maybe it was a sibling who went abroad and now you want to go, but you have to decide more than, well, my brother went, so I should go. But what is it about London for you that makes it right for you? And then the one thing we do put in consideration would be if you have, or if you are or ever have been on disciplinary probation, there is a part in the essays to talk through like what have you learned from that experience and how will you continue to be successful abroad, and really how have we learned from that, and so that we can set ourselves up. So ultimately, study abroad, we hope for as many students to study abroad as possible, but we also want to showcase the best as well of St. Ben, St. John's. You are representative of that, but you're also representative of the US as well. So making sure that you have to be successful here before going abroad and having that success there. All right, so lots of next steps, kind of creating that financial plan. If you haven't already, the global portal is where our application lives. So creating that traveler profile and then ultimately applying for the program of choice. Hopefully that's one of the London programs. Again, I talked about that study abroad mentor. So these are student peers who have studied abroad, been in your shoes, and they can walk you through some options, but also work through the application. If you have London specific program questions, feel free to make an appointment with myself, Joy Rice, spelled R-U-I-S. And you can find any of us in the Hive is the best way to connect that way. In January, typically we will have practice interviews that you can work with our XPD your mentors. And then, but the biggest thing to know now would be our deadline for the application is February 3rd at noon. So this is where making sure you get all your parts in for a complete application. And that is the online application. There is going to be two different recommendations as a part of the application as well. One would be your academic, so someone you've had in class. And then one is a non-faculty. So this can't be a family member, but typically this is work person. If you work here on campus or an FR, can also be a part of that application, and then paying the fee. So all that has to be completed by February 3rd, and then we have the interview, and then you get notified on the 17th. If by chance you don't get into a first choice program, we do have a process for you to look at other open programs. But this is where doing your homework, understanding this is why London, putting work into this piece, so you can put your best foot forward for your first choice program. We do have a way, if you start your application, meaning you go into the global portal, start an application, you don't have to complete it. By just starting it by November 30th, we know you at least have interest, you will be entered to win a chance to win a free application fee. So this would be thinking through now. We really hope that November is the time you decide on what program, and then it really is December and January. Now, you can spend just an hour or two on this application, but I do want you to put thought into this. So poke around, open it up, understand what are the parts. We've had students come to our office, the writing center is available to peruse your essays. Put some thought into this. There isn't a resume component as a part. So because you're gonna be doing that placement in the internship, that resume can help you understand, like, here's the prior experience that I bring to London. But this is also helpful for the director or myself to know, like, oh, this is how this person, the prior experiences that they bring to study abroad as well. But we see this as part of your professional development into your next kind of level of career and things like that. So that's where we're excited to help you not only study abroad, but develop into that next piece as you guys are getting internships and those kind of things too. All right, threw a lot at you. What kind of questions do you all have? And with that, we will pause and stop the recording. Okay.